Hello and welcome into another edition of the PHNX D-Backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla. Of course, I am occasionally known as the milkman with this hat today. I'm stealing Zach Gallen's nickname. This guy over here, he is my vice mayor. He's also the one and only Thunderstick, Jesse Friedman.
I have my Seth Cerveza shirt, just like hiding right here.
Peeking out a little bit, it's there.
It's a very loud splash of red.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good. I like it. Meanwhile, I, according to Anthony Totri, look like Grimace today. So
there you go.
That's why I hate that guy. Anyway, of course, this show's brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Hello to all of you. Thank you guys for joining us in the chat today. And as always, we appreciate you guys being here. We have a lot of spending going on.
A lot of spending.
There was another NL West acquisition made, and this one wasn't as sexy. It wasn't as big. Noah Syndergaard is going to the LA Dodgers, agreeing on a one-year deal. And, of course, not a terrible pitcher at all, and somebody who I'm sure the Dodgers will take from where he's currently at to a Cy Young level, because that's what they do.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well just say it now, right? I mean, you're not speaking it into existence. It's just going to happen no matter what we say. So, yeah, Noah Syndergaard is not the pitcher he once was, right? I think that was obvious watching the Phillies in the playoffs. Like, Syndergaard is not, the flamethrower guy that he was back with the New York Mets, but he's still a pretty effective pitcher. He had a sub-4 ERA last year with the Phillies. Not a big strikeout guy anymore, which I think it's still weird to live in a world where Noah Syndergaard, let's see, in the regular season with the Phillies, he was at 5.1 Ks per nine, which is extremely low.
Very low.
Very, very low. He really...
A man who was in the tens for most of his career, right, or at least the early part of his career.
Right. Yeah. I mean, 31 strikeouts in 54 and 2/3 innings after being moved to the Phillies in the middle of last year. So, yeah, he's a different guy, but he's still a pretty effective pitcher. And if there's any team that's going to figure out how to get Noah Syndergaard back closer to the pitcher he once was, it's the LA Dodgers. And from what we've seen, it looks like he turned down more money and more years to go to the Dodgers because he knew, just how much success they've had with pitchers like him in the past. So for him, it was probably the right move.
More importantly, I feel like it's that betting on yourself move that we talked about with both Aaron Judge and Carlos Correa, where he wants a breakout year. He had a good year with the Phillies. They did really well. They exceeded expectations. Now he can go to a team that is, arguably one of the best teams in baseball, mostly at, rejuvenating careers at times. So, I mean, that's one thing that the Dodgers are very, very good at. It makes a lot of sense. And he only signs that one-year deal so that hopefully he can get what would probably be his last big money deal next year if he has a good season with the Dodgers.
You think he's going to get 11 years or 13 years?
I'm thinking 15. I'm thinking locking in by 15 because Ken Rosenthal has a tremendous piece, by the way, over on The Athletic, pointing out how big market teams have found a way to circumvent the luxury tax with these long-term deals. And it's very interesting, as Jesse pointed out to me, mostly the thing that sticks out is the fact that the CBA technically is against this. Yeah, I mean, there's a clause in the CBA that kind of specifically addresses this.
There was no question, and this goes back to the Bryce Harper deal with the Phillies of 2019, right? That was a 13-year contract with a relatively low AAV, given how good of a player Bryce Harper was. That was really the first instance that we've seen of this. And then, as Ken Rosenthal wrote about, we've had 3 more of these in like the last week, basically. Yeah. So it's sort of become the new trend. If you're a big market team, in order to circumvent the luxury tax system and keep your annual tax hit low on some of these star players, you just sign them for an absurd number of years, well past, when they're probably going to be effective major leaguers, but you're willing to do that because it gives you more space during the prime years of those players in order to make additions and add elsewhere on the roster. But yeah, the collective bargaining agreement, apparently, this was really news to me from Ken's article today. He wrote that baseball's collective bargaining agreement states neither players nor clubs shall enter into any agreement designed to defeat or circumvent the intention of the luxury tax. And you could make a case, I don't know if it's a, legally sound case at this point, but you could make a case that that's sort of what these contracts are designed to do. They're sort of trying to circumvent the system and extend these players out farther than you reasonably would in a normal situation in order to keep the luxury tax hit low on an annual basis. And yeah, I mean, we can get into the specifics here. Ken basically says that he he doesn't really know exactly what the future holds in this, whether MLB would actually take action on trying to prevent this, but it's interesting that the language is there.
Well, and it's interesting because baseball is always trying to make the game more competitive, more equal. Yesterday, Roger Goodell said in regards to the NFL that the NFL has a point differential, most of average right now of 8 points. It's the closest it's ever been in NFL history. Basically, NFL is the most competitive it's kind of ever been, at least points-wise, as far as the difference between wins and losses on games. That's what baseball wants, right? Baseball wants not only close games, but they want competitiveness. They want teams to be able to not be terrible for years and years and years and be able to find their way out of the cellar.
Yeah.
It just feels like these things that these big market teams are doing is just is doing the opposite of that. Once again, it's making sure that these big names go to big market teams, and it's making these teams so much substantially better than their opponents, unless you're talking about the NL East or the NL West, where it's kind of a arms race. That there's no hope for them to compete. The Rays can only do it with a limited budget so many years, right, where they compete in the AL East and such. So
yeah.
But speaking of money spent, let's take a look now at some of the the biggest spenders as far as free agency goes. I like to call these guys the Santa Claus of the holiday free agency season. Of course, we have the San Francisco Giants now outspending everybody with the Carlos Correa deal, and the New York Mets just a tad behind. Do you think this bothers Steve Cohen? Do you think that he needs to spend
I think it absolutely
more
bothers Steve Cohen. Yeah. Yes, for sure. He's going to go sign, some guy to some like minor league contract with an invite to spring training or something that has incentives that could push the Mets over the Giants.
1.5 million,
right? Yeah, something
just
like that.
Enough, right? But this is kind of wild because we're getting to the point where teams that have been notorious for spending and still do kind of get just mixed in the shuffle like the Yankees. What you'll see notably missing from this list is the Los Angeles Dodgers, who I'm sure are still going to end up on this list, but at this point have not ended up in the top 10.
At this point, if you don't get Dansby Swanson and you don't get Carlos Rodon, you're not going to spend that much money. The Dodgers could still improve via trade in a significant way. I think there's still potential for that, but I don't know if there's much potential at this point for the Dodgers to have this enormous spending offseason based on how many guys are off the board now.
Well, if we look at that side, we also have to look at the side that I like to call the holiday Grinches of free agency spending. These are the teams that spent the least in MLB free agency. Brewers, Marlins.
They're not Grinches. They need to find good coupons before they go shopping.
I
right?
can relate. I refuse to buy anything at retail price. Like there is no reason to. You will find a 10% off coupon out there. You'll probably find a 20% off coupon. Sometimes I go onto the website and I just start plugging in stuff to see if it'll work.
Well, there are some stores that honestly it's irritating. There are some stores that have coupons all the time.
Oh yeah,
literally there is never
Kohl's, a time where
Kohl's always has a coupon. If you're waltzed into Kohl's paying full price, you're just wasting money. You're just throwing money away, basically.
You're absolutely right about that. But the Milwaukee Brewers and Miami Marlins are not throwing any money away, and they are doing the Jesse Holiday spending method of waiting till the last minute before they get those last minute deals. But yeah, there's some surprising teams on here. I think the Atlanta Braves have a chance if they do retain Swanson, like you were saying about the Dodgers, that they could flip and end up on the other side of this spending frenzy. But the Mariners, who is a team that seems very close, I think that they've been active, and I was expecting to see them add more. And honestly, the Baltimore Orioles that just make it at the bottom of the list. They also seem like a team that how is it not tantalizing to them with how good their season went in 2022 to add some pieces right now at this point.
Cash considerations equals Cole's cash. Yes.
Yes.
Cole's cash is a mind-boggling phenomenon.
Oh yeah.
It works so well. They're just like handing you money, but you have to come in within like 1 or 2 weeks in order to actually spend it.
Nothing's going to be on sale during that period of time.
Right,
so good luck finding anything there. We're just tearing apart Cole's business model today. I don't know what they did to deserve this, but anyway, there are.
I love Kohl's, so I can't. I'm there all the time. That's why I know all of these things. Most of my wardrobe comes from there.
Yeah.
So
all right. Well, I can't say the same. Mine comes from the internet. That's why mine is cool.
Right. And you get most of yours for free because people just send you stuff.
That's the hustle. That's the side hustle. Can we put the least spending graphic back up? Because I want to take a look at where the Diamondbacks are on this list. Obviously, not terrible, but haven't really spent much. And
Miguel Castro.
Castro is all that money, right? The thing here is that the Diamondbacks have been active, at least rumored to be active, right? So I don't feel like it was not a lack of trying, but I also think that the Diamondbacks really did want to try to find their big deal through a trade versus free agency.
Yeah, and they're not done. Honestly, I'm not really surprised at all that the Diamondbacks haven't spent much yet, because the way that the market pans out, usually the Diamondbacks are going to be doing their spending a little bit later in the offseason.
Right.
So like they weren't going to get Carlos Correa or, Trey Turner, or like the guys that have come off the board are by and large players the Diamondbacks would not be interested in. So yeah, I don't think this is necessarily a huge shock. I'm a little concerned about Gabriel, who says he thinks he spent more on Black Friday than the D-backs have in the offseason. So Gabriel apparently spent more than $4 million during Black Friday, which is, you must, I don't know. Gabriel must give great Christmas gifts.
He's talking about percentage of spending versus what you have to spend. Okay. I think that might be what he's talking about.
Enough.
But of course, the only thing the D-backs could do right now that would completely blow my mind is sign Carlos Rodon, right? Which that's not going to happen, because he is going to get so much money in this next deal. But
I don't think Carlos. I mean, I'm honestly kind of scared for whatever team gives Carlos Rodon as much money as he's going to get. He has a history of shoulder issues, and in my mind, a shoulder problem, like continuous shoulder problems, is about the worst injury report you could possibly have on a player. And so, yeah, I mean, he pitched great. Like, he's an excellent starter. Probably one of the best 5 or 10 in the National League last year, but there's a lot of risk in going to 6 or 7 years to get Carlos Rodon, and that's probably what it's going to take to get him.
All right. Well, I will tell you this much. If you haven't done so already, you don't have to shop on a Black Friday deal to get yourself the best present you could get yourself. Get yourself a PHNX Diehards membership right now. Get one for your loved one, but I mean, really, just get it for yourself. That's one gift that nobody's going to question why you did that or what you did it for. Of course, not only do you get a free t-shirt or hat upon getting your membership, you'll get a free t-shirt or hat every year. You'll get 20% off over at the phnxlocker.com. Access to our members-only Discord, which is, of course, the best place to be an Arizona sports fan. So much more. Not only do you get Jesse's Diehard only newsletter, but
we've got one coming today, and I have to preface it by saying it's a little bit of a downer article.
What did you do?
It's a realist article, I guess is all I'll say. But okay. I think it's important stuff for every Diamondbacks fans to have in their minds going into 2023. So you'll see what I'm talking about.
Do we want to talk about it or what? Because obviously what happened here is Jesse wrote an article that provided a lot of hope. There was an article that he has out about Dalton Varsho, the trade to Houston. And
I don't know how many Diamondbacks fans thought of that article as providing a lot of hope.
Here's the thing: a lot
of Diamondbacks fans were angry, and Astros fans were
also angry. Yeah,
and
we found it delightful at how many people were angry at Jesse. But of course, Elizabeth asked, "Why must Jesse hurt us?" That's Jesse's thing. Jesse feeds on that. He's like an energy vampire when it comes to that kind of thing. But yes, he loves misery, and that's why his
love misery.
His Diehard only newsletter is going to bring that to you. Hopefully, though, what we can do is we can get you to join us over at our PHNX Four Peaks Tea Party. And of course, if you are a Diehards member, you will get a discount on the entry fee for that, $45 per person, $36 for Diehards, and then the foursome, $160, $120. But of course, this is going to be a blast. We are going to have our inaugural PHNX Tea Party presented by Four Peaks at Dobson Ranch Golf Course. We're renting out the whole driving range, which is incredible. We had a blast out there the other day, hanging out, hitting some golf balls. I love the technology of this place. If you guys have been to Top Golf, it's that, but at a normal driving range. There's so many games to play at the driving range. But not to mention, we're going to have some gigantic televisions showing the Suns versus the Timberwolves. We're going to have our PHNX crew out there, fellow Diehards, Big Drive Energy, and more. Night of golf, food, drinks, contest prizes, and more. Max is standing here looking at me, and I feel very nervous reading this because he's making sure that I get it right and I don't let him down. And I don't want to let him down, but I feel like I'm ultimately going to. All right. Thank you. You'll get unlimited range balls, a set of rental clubs if you don't have your own clubs, and of course, 1 free hour of range time and golf balls at Dobson Ranch to be used at a later time. So not only do you get to come out for this event, but you also get to come out on your own and enjoy the wonderful range over at Dobson Ranch. We're going to have mini games. Of course, Jesse is going to beat you in ping pong. Saul is going to beat you in pickleball and more. All sorts of contests, including longest drive, putting challenges, highest score, and more. There's going to be a lot of heaters around Lindsay Smith, and she will be in charge of the hot chocolate because she will be very cold most of the time. But you don't have to be cold. Dress warmly and come out. And most importantly, there will be a free kids clinic provided for all kids 10 and under for you to drop off the little ones and have them have their own fun time. And you can come have your fun time with your friends, fellow Diehard members, and your friends at PHNX. But of course, make sure to click the link in the description and reserve your spot right now. And for our Diehards, check the Discord for your special link where you will save 20% on this awesome event. So make sure to come out. It's a fun time. We're going to have a great time. I'm going to be there. I don't know anymore. My cornhole skills are questionable at best lately. So
I love cornhole. Yeah. I still don't really know if I'm good at it. Like I don't usually embarrass myself. It's kind of hard to embarrass yourself in cornhole.
Right.
But it's just a really fun, I don't know. I just always love playing cornhole. It's great.
I think the most important thing is that there's going to be food provided by our friend at Four Peaks, and they will have beer samples and swag. So thanks to Four Peaks for doing that. And of course, I have to ask everybody in the chat, what is your favorite Four Peaks beer? Drop it for me. Someone pointed out, yes, I am drinking an Arizona iced tea today. I am fine. I assure you guys, everything is okay. I just needed a tea today, you know? See, like when you drink beers on every show, and the next thing you know, like people think something's wrong when you're drinking a tea. I will tell you though, of course, Wow Wheat is by far my favorite Four Peaks beer. So I want to hear from you guys as well. Jesse, what else do we have going on? I mean, we have Corbin Carroll kind of talking that shit, which I love a little bit, right?
Yes.
We had a tweet go out from Corbin Carroll that kind of expressed his feelings. He was on the cover of Baseball America, Top 10 Prospects. Corbin Carroll heads a talented trio of prospects atop Arizona system. And Corbin Carroll drops this little teaser, a lot more than just a trio, I can promise you that.
I love this from Corbin Carroll because Corbin Carroll he is just like the nicest, most respectful kid that you could possibly imagine.
He's not wrong.
And
so thoughtful.
Just very thoughtful.
He would never tweet something out that was like reactionary.
No.
Or just really, I feel like, to talk that shit.
Yeah.
But he's talking that shit.
He's not the type to like come after people on Twitter at all.
Right.
Which he doesn't really do here, but he does. I don't know. I love the tone of voice here in these words from Corbin Carroll, and he might be right. I mean, the trio, of course, that Baseball America is referring to is Carroll, who is still officially a prospect. He hasn't exhausted his rookie status just yet, along with Jordan Lawler and Drew Jones. Those are the three guys that are viewed as like the elite trio of Diamondbacks prospects. But you got some other names in this system that are also, could be bound to be pretty good major leaguers at some point. You've got Blake Walston, you've got Brandon Pfaadt, who we've talked a lot about. Dre Jameson and Ryan Nelson are still prospects. Right. So there's a lot of other guys that are in the system that could be difference makers in the big leagues before too long. So it's cool to see Corbin Carroll coming out and kind of supporting the entirety of the D-back system, which remains one of the best in the league.
If you're listening to us right now on your favorite audio podcasting app, I just want you to know that the chat is going crazy with extension talk. They want him extended right now. 13 years to 20 years is the time frame being thrown out there.
Well, you got to, so the way extensions work, right, would have to be like 11 or 13 years after he hits free agency. Yeah. So if he hits free agency in 6 years, then you go 11 years past. So maybe a 17-year deal for Corbin Carroll. There you go.
I'm on board with it. Joel Sherman of the New York Post reported that the New York Mets contacted the Diamondbacks about another young man that was considered one of their top prospects, Alek Thomas. Apparently, Arizona asked for third baseman Brett Batty or Beatty?
Brett Beatty,
Brett Beatty,
Brett Beatty.
To be included in the deal, and the Mets said, take a walk, basically. And that's when they declined and re-signed Brandon Nimmo to an 8-year, $162 million deal, right? So, right there shows very much so their feelings on their young prospect and how much he's truly worth, considering that they brought Nimmo back for that big contract.
Yeah.
It also makes me realize that teams are still interested in Alek Thomas. And I'm sure they probably don't know as much about Jake McCarthy as they should, but Alek Thomas still had kind of a rough landing to his 2022 season. And at this point, I can completely understand the Diamondbacks not being, in a position where they need to make a panic move to get rid of him at this point. You're not going to sell at a high point, essentially, with his stock.
Yeah, Brett Baty is at least on MLB Pipeline, he's ranked as the second best third base prospect in baseball. So it's Jordan Walker, the St. Louis Cardinals, who we're familiar with,
friend of the show.
Can
we call him that?
I don't know if we can. We watched him play at the Arizona Fall League quite a bit.
Time around him. I just feel like we can call him that.
I've never met Jordan Walker personally, so I don't know if I can quite go that far. But yeah, Jordan Walker, we saw him in the Arizona Fall League, just an outstanding hitter, projects to be a star for the St. Louis Cardinals as soon as next year. And then Brett Baty is right after him in terms of third base prospect ranking. So it makes sense. The D-backs certainly have a need at third base. It's a position that they don't have any clear answers for moving forward. As of right now, it's a platoon probably between Josh Rojas and Emmanuel Rivera. I think there's still some opportunities to add in that regard before the offseason is over. But yeah, Brett Baty is the kind of guy that you could plug in there and, make your everyday third baseman for a long time.
He's also the number 2 prospect in the Mets organization as well. And he hit a home run in his first major league at bat. So, he's kind of a legend already there.
I feel like that's something of I need to look this up, but I feel like that's something of a trend with Diamondbacks prospects. Like, I think there have been kind of a lot that have homered in their first big league at bat. I know Gerardo Parra is on that list. I want to say there's a number of others. I'm going to have to look into that at some point.
It sounds like you need to write an article about that.
That's an article waiting to happen. I'm pretty sure there's something there. But yeah, Baty did get a taste of the big leagues toward the end of last year. It was 11 games, 38 at bats, so really small sample. It wasn't great. He hit 184 with a 586 OPS. So similar to Thomas, there are still some questions about like how does the skill set play in the big leagues? What is this really going to look like when all is said and done? But yeah, from the Mets standpoint, given how willing they are to spend money, as we've talked about a lot, this kind of makes sense for them, right? Like they would rather just go get Brandon Nimmo than sacrifice a very, very good prospect in Brett Baty and move him to another organization. So no surprises here really that they decided to go that route.
And it like you said, I think the Diamondbacks weren't really looking to get any more prospects, but Brett Baty's major league ready, essentially, I feel like, or at least that's what the Diamondbacks are assessing him as. And
he would be a guy that, you could viably like bring him into spring training. If he has a good spring, he's probably the guy at third base going into the season. I think he's at that point.
He said, I guess the question here is the asking price too high for Alek Thomas, or is it exactly where it should be if you're the Arizona Diamondbacks, right? Again, this isn't a guy who's going to be a free agent after 2023. They have no reason to.
Yeah, there's no reason to rush.
Yeah, to rush and get something not get enough for somebody that they value very highly in their system.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Again, we don't really know exactly what what the trade conversations around Alek Thomas are looking like. We know this rumor about Brett Baty. I think on paper, that's a fairly even trade, both very well regarded as prospects with some questions about how things will translate to the big leagues. On paper, I don't think that was a ridiculous ask or anything from the Diamondbacks perspective. But yeah, I think you're certainly in a position, as we've talked about, to take advantage of this situation where there are a lot of teams that need a center fielder right now or that would like to upgrade at center field, and the Diamondbacks have as many of them as they do. So it's an opportunity to be taken advantage of. I don't think, at least this one rumor that we know about, I don't think asking for Brett Baty was a ridiculous ask by any stretch of the imagination. I wouldn't back off that asking price in a significant way.
Brian Abdallah earlier in the chat said that the asking price is higher than a bag of OGs. It sounds like our price is higher than, I'm guessing, a bag of OGs. Look, I'll do the ad reads around here, Brian. All right. But that gives me a wonderful opportunity to say, yes, the asking price is higher than a bag of OGs. And of course, if you want to feel that high, make sure to grab yourself a bag of OGs at your local dispensary. They have a wonderful variety of flavors, doses, and more than anything, OGs knows how to throw a party. So if you ever get a chance to check out one of OG's events, either with us or on their own, make sure not to pass that up, because I'm still telling people about seeing individuals get free tattoos at the last OG's party I went to. But of course, I've talked a bit about their Sleepy Time gummy, their Sleep Edition gummy, which I enjoy very much. So check that out. And of course, check out all their variety of doses and strains at your local dispensary. Must be 21 years or older to enjoy. And I'll tell you, the perfect place to go once you've achieved that kind of feeling is Octane Raceway and Mavericks, because
there you go.
It is a very fun place to go and have a fun time. Mavericks has 22 bowling lanes, 85 arcade games, state-of-the-art laser tag arena, billiards tables, as I've attested to, one of the best hamburgers you can get anywhere, and so much more. So make sure to check them out. They got some daily specials coming up. Tonight you can get Big Bucket Thursday, $20 beer buckets. On Friday, get trivia at night and rotating drink specials from 8 to 10. And Saturday through Sunday, 50% off signature bowling before noon. Their bowling lanes are incredible. And I got asked this the other day. They are full-size bowling lanes. So I don't know if you go to some arcades where they kind of have like smaller lanes. This is full-on bowling lane along with an incredible arcade. And the only full-time indoor-outdoor racetrack in the United States over at Octane Raceway, where Faj is very good at racing. I don't understand it because he's a very large individual, very tall, and these are small carts.
But I'm really good.
But he's really good. I don't know. I think he's like reaching his arms out and putting, like stopping us or doing something. I don't know. There's some cheating going on there, but he was incredibly good. So make sure to have a fun time with your friends over at Octane Raceway and Mavericks. Jesse, it's never too early for a mock draft.
No.
It's never too early for a mock draft.
Almost too early.
But never now too early.
Now it's okay.
Yeah, well, and of course, we had the Zips projections come out today, so we wanted to kind of entice you to listen to tomorrow's audio-only podcast episode where we are going to do a big dive into the Zips projections for the Arizona Diamondbacks. But of course, Jonathan Mayo from MLB.com has the Arizona Diamondbacks in his latest first mock draft of the 2023.
Yeah,
but not the latest.
His eighth mock draft in December.
Right. But he actually has a kind of a homegrown talent going to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Jacob Wilson from Grand Canyon University, son of Jack Wilson, which actually, looking at some of his numbers, has a pretty incredible bat. But he's a shortstop, super advanced bat, and we'd be considered a bit of a steal outside of the top 10, according to Jonathan Mayo. But Wilson slash 358, 418, 585 with a 1.004 OPS in 59 games for GCU last season.
Yeah, and he struck out like 7 times in like 300 plate appearances, which is wild. I have to say this thought did cross my mind when I was looking at MLB Pipeline's list of draft prospects before they actually did a mock draft. And I saw Jacob Wilson, Grand Canyon University, kind of around where the Diamondbacks would be selecting. I kind of wondered if this might be a possible fit. Really advanced bat, 65 hit tool on the 20 to 80 scale, which is a very, very big number. Sort of fits the mold of what the Diamondbacks have often targeted in the first round of the draft, which is guys who hit the ball well. They're not usually chasing after big sluggers early in the draft. They're looking for guys who are, good defenders, guys who have advanced hit tools, maybe a bit of a, not as much of an emphasis on power, at least from what we've seen recently. Wilson has an opportunity to come in and potentially be a difference maker for the D-backs down the road. I think there's potential for him to move to third base as well. So if you're wondering, what do you do with Jordan Lawler? Those things will usually sort themselves out. But I think he would have the arm to play at third base. So that's at least something to note for now.
And he's a college player, so his timeline is expedited just a little bit.
Yeah, he could advance a little bit more quickly, which would be good for the D-backs, right?
Yeah,
They're in a position where if you can get a guy up in the next, 3 years or so, this team has the potential to be pretty good in a few years. So the timeline sort of works out there as well.
Yep. And so I don't know. I don't know when it is too early to start talking mock drafts. I'm sure the draft is
in June. So I think we're about seven months out.
Yeah.
There's still
35
a whole lot of,
to 120 mock drafts still to go before we get there. But
right.
You guys stay tuned and we'll update you on every single one of them. Of course, we thank you guys for being here right now on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Leave us a review. Leave us a comment. We thank you guys for being here. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when any of the shows go live. If you're listening to us on your favorite audio podcasting app, we appreciate you guys listening there. We thank you. If you haven't subscribed, do it so. Leave us a review. We always love getting the feedback. And before I go, I'm going to do something ridiculous, of course. with our DraftKings pick of the week.
Oh, here we go.
I'm taking the Suns. I'm taking the Phoenix Suns over the LA Clippers. They have a plus 100 value on the money line right now. I'm also taking the over at 217.5 points. Why? Because I want to be hurt again. That's why. But I believe in the Suns beating the Clippers. And right now they're a 1-point underdog. So come on, get on that money line bet, make some money with me. And of course, if you haven't done so already, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up with our code of PHNX, place a $5 pregame moneyline bet on any NBA team to win their game, and you will get $150 in free bets if they do. Bet on the Suns. And I'm guessing he just walked by, and I'm guessing Shane's disappointed in me for doing that. But anyway, that's code PHNX, only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Brian Abdallah says no thanks. Michael says Suns need to win so bad, so don't jinx them, Derek. I know.
I don't think people are very on board with your DraftKings pick of the week.
But that's all right.
What else has changed?
You can yell at me on Twitter because that's what Twitter is for. Of course, I'm at cap_caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse and Friedman. Our show's at PHNX_DBacks. But of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Make sure to check out our audio podcast on Friday. Big Zips episode. We're gonna
go crazy with the Zips. Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. Quick preview. The Zips have Corbin Carroll being the Diamondbacks' best position player next year, like by a reasonably wide margin. And I believe it also has Brandon Pfaadt being the Diamondbacks' second best starter behind Zach Gallen. So
think about that.
We're gonna have some
Let
fun
that sink
tomorrow.
In between now and tomorrow.
We're gonna have some fun tomorrow digging into the numbers. So audio only. Can't join us in the chat, but be sure to whatever podcast app is your favorite. You can find us
then
there.
Pull up the Zips projections on Fangraphs, and we'll go through this together.
We'll go through it
as a team. So of course we thank you guys for being here. On behalf of David, Faj, this guy, Jesse, and myself, we always appreciate your time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when Brandon Pfaadt is one of the best projected pitchers for the Diamondbacks next year.